I want to ask you first, this is an amazing place. Do you think, as Americans remember, that they understand the difference here? It's not just a memorial, it's the resting place of those heroes.
I don't think they do. I don't think they realize that some of these poor people were literally vaporized. I mean, they were, and the field that we didn't go on to, I know you know this, that we didn't go on to, where that rock memorializes where the plane actually hit, there's parts of their families all over that field. I don't think most Americans know that.
And so what goes through your mind as you're here on this site and you're remembering, but it's just extra sensitive.
And these weren't soldiers, these weren't military people, these were Americans who knew they were doing something bigger than just trying to get rid of a bunch of hijackers. They knew they were saving people's lives, and they gave their own.
I was at the White House that morning, and when we were evacuated, they thought maybe it was coming our way. Turns out people think it was probably going the Capitol's way. These people could have saved your life, saved your dad's life.
Look, I literally get off the train just as the Pentagon got hit. And I'm walking up, and I found out everybody was out of the Capitol. I said, well, we should go back in. I get up on the Capitol steps, and the Capitol, they said, incoming plane, incoming. You got to get out of here, Senator. You got to get out of here. Now, obviously, I don't know for sure. No one knows for absolutely sure, but it appeared as though, 30 minutes out, 20 minutes out, this aircraft. So they could have, and I thought that the president said it well. President Clinton, he said, they would have not only taken hundreds of lives, but they would have taken down the symbol of what constitutes the heart and soul of the government.
How different would it have been? I assume you have no doubt, I have no doubt, the country would have rebuilt, the country would have rebounded. But how different would it have been if the terrorists had that image? The dome of the Capitol stripped off?
I just think it would have been profoundly more difficult. I think it would have been a rallying cry to every extremist, every jihadi in the world, and taking down the symbol of ours in the minds of the rest of the world, our financial empire, the trade towers. It wasn't Wall Street, but that was the image. But to actually take down, you could have heard it now, not just the British, sacked, the Capitol. I mean, I think it would have been a lot tougher. And it would have been tougher for Americans, psychologically.
Right.
It would have been tougher for Americans.
I want your personal thoughts on a couple of things before we do. You're in the room when the raid is playing out on bin Laden.
It's true.
You know when you come into the room what the goal is. I assume you had to have maybe wrong choice of words, but a pretty serious case of the jitters about, oh boy, we better get this right.
Well, look, what I had my first thought was, we were sending in a whole hell of a bunch of special operators, helicopter pilots, SEALs and others that who were really doing something that was absolutely, if you put it on paper, which we did, and when rehearsed it, knew every detail of it, was remarkable. Everything had to work. And so the first thought was for their safety. I know that's, well, anyway, that was the first thought. The second thought was that if this were to fail, the psychological impact it would be for bin Laden and for Al-Qaeda, and the negative impact it would have in terms of our sense of the United States' sense of our capabilities. And but it was remarkable what they did. I mean, absolutely.
Any moment when you're watching the feeds coming in and getting the briefings where you start to think,